can't tell me, I'll find out myself. Every time you're stressed, your heart is affected. You write your own story. You
Mhm.
are the author of your story. So how you want to see your life, start putting it into place right now. I don't claim to be a healer at all. I just help people learn how to heal themselves. If we're not good to ourselves, how are we going to be good to anybody else?
This honest conversation is caffeinated by Integrity Coffee, a Michigan roaster making your mornings a little easier and a lot better. You can shop once or subscribe monthly so your coffee shows up before your personality disappears. Order at integritycoffee22.com and use the code HONEST20. Real talk, raw feelings. Welcome to Attunigrate's podcast series. If I'm being honest, I'm your host, Nishani Javadan. I'm the founder of Attunigrate. And I'm Himgori Alve. I'm Gigi to my friends, creative mind and founder behind Tessellations. I build brand that means something. Today we have another special guest who is somebody that I have known for about a year and a half now. And our introduction was rather indirect. It's almost like this is not the reason why we were supposed to connect. But then somehow this person has been in my life and has been an incredible supporter and a cheerleader for me in my professional life and in my personal life. So I cannot wait to bring all of you, our audience, and introduce you guys to this incredible guest of ours, Dr. Yakima Palmer. Dr. Yakima is a naturopathic doctor, a healthcare professor, a wellness educator, a speaker, and the founder of Yaks Wellness and the 1220 Collective. Her work focuses on helping people better understand their bodies, regulate stress, support healing through education, nervous system awareness, holistic wellness, and lifestyle transformation. After experiencing profound personal loss, trauma, and her own health challenges, she turned her pain into purpose, using both lived experience and professional training to help others reconnect with themselves physically, mentally, emotionally, and energetically. Through community conversations, wellness coaching, frequency based wellness tools, and empowering education, Dr. Yakima creates spaces where people feel seen, supported, and encouraged to become the best version of themselves, one intentional step at a time. And I have to say, before I allow Dr. Yakima to speak, I have to say, when I first met Dr. Yakima, it was through a networking connection. I was in a networking group called BNI, and the financial advisor of the group is related to somebody. I mean, his sister is a professor, and he connected me with his sister, which I actually cannot remember exactly why we were connected. I think it was because I wanted to audit and learn about billing audits, and because I have my therapy practice and I wanted to be proactive about how my therapist and we were billing and what we were writing, because, speaking to medical necessity is an important topic. So I got connected to Andrea through David Weemy, right? The financial advisor. And Andrea was like, hey, I think, even in my first conversation, she was like, you know what? I think there's going to be a better person for you. And that's Yakima Palmer. And I think she's going to be great. So let me introduce you to her. Next thing I know, Dr. Yakima and I are connecting virtually because Dr. Yakima is not a Michigan resident. She lives in Illinois, which you guys will hear more about in a bit. And when I got connected to her, I was really looking for that billing support. I just needed somebody to audit our charts or provide some training on medical necessity documentation for me and my clinicians. And so that was really the initial stages of how we even found each other and why we started working with each other more professionally. And then next thing I know, I am realizing Dr. Yakima is a true supporter of what I was doing, and I wanted to learn more about what she was doing. And we were both encouraging each other because she was diving into coaching. She was also a professor. And I was like, whoa. So she's been a therapist in the past. Then she got into the coding world. So Dr. Yakima has worn many hats. And over maybe like a year ago, if I'm mistaken, is when she officially got her NP and did her education to become officially a doctor of NP. Is that how you say it? I might need to be
Naturopathic,
corrected on
ND,
MD.
ND.
ND. Thank you. There was like there's all these things that Dr. Yakima has been doing, and we haven't even gotten into your wellness journey in your body, like the is it weight is it
Weightlift.
weightlifting? Is that how you phrase it?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Yeah, like bodybuilding. Like it was incredible. So
Yep.
I as a younger woman observing somebody who is walking through her life, I have always met women who have said like, "Oh, at 40 my life is over. Like I'm now settling in. I'm not doing anything new. I'm not learning anything new." And somehow when I met Dr. Yakima, I was noticing that there is no cap. There is no limit to what you're capable of doing. You get to decide anytime. You can decide if you want to learn something new, right? Granted, it may not look the same way you might learn something new when you're in your 20s or when you're in your teenage years, but it all that matters is intention. So to see her evolve over the years that I've known her, and to also see how she's expanded her own practice and helping other women now. She's led a wellness retreat that we'll get into. Like there's just so many things that Dr. Yakima has done. And mind you, I've told this to Dr. Yakima, Gigi, I mentioned this to my mom because my mom will sometimes be like, too old now. I can't really go back into the exercise world. That's not for me. And I sent her pictures of Dr. Yakima. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
look at this woman. I was like, this is somebody that I know. And she is very close in age to my mom. And I was like, you have plenty of options. All you need to do is decide and change your lifestyle and change the way you perceive yourself. So,
Mhm.
anyways, without further ado, Dr. Yakima, thank you so much for being a part of this podcast. I am so excited to introduce you to Gigi, my co host, and get into this conversation on all things that you do for your community and how you have entered into this world because you've worn many hats over the many years. I'm really, really excited to have your wisdom and to share it with our audience. So thank you for being here.
Thank
Thank you so much.
I'm just
Thank
going to add one small line before Dr. Yakima gets in. Like, as our viewers get to know Dr. Yakima, so do I. I've heard about her in bits and pieces from Nishani, but yeah, I really didn't like deep dive into it because that's another thing that we like to get to do on our podcast is, we love to get into a chat and I kind of become like a listener on the other side, like trying to get their questions across to you because we are on the line of getting to knowing you. So thank you so much for doing this with us, Dr. Yakima. And yes, we'd love to know a little bit about you. And yeah.
thank you, Nishani, and thank you, Gigi, for having me. And I appreciate you welcoming me and speaking so highly of me. Sometimes I can't even recognize myself sometimes. And I thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, what I really wanted to get us started on was really addressing how you came into this world, right? Because you did start off as a therapist, which means that you're already a bleeding heart and you care about serving a community. And so I'm really curious how your path has led to where you are today and where it all started.
Sure. I would say as a kid, like 12, 13 years of age, I always wanted to work in a hospital. I was sick with asthma as a kid, so I was always in the hospital with asthma-related conditions, and I always saw people in these red and white jumpsuits. They call them candy stripers, and they were volunteers of the hospital and always helped other people in the hospital, and when I saw this, I said, "I wanna do this," and I enjoy helping people already, so this was something that I always wanted to do. So, as I've even in my at 13, 14 years old, I must say I fixed up my birth certificate so that I can work at an early age. I have 2 younger brothers, and my mom couldn't always afford to buy the things that we needed or that I wanted as a kid, so I wanted to work. So I went on and started working at McDonald's, a different, restaurant, other chains at 14 years old, making, I can recall, a dollar and like 55 cents an hour. And from there, I was in school, I always worked, and I always enjoyed helping people. So I was that person that when kids had parties, I was that waitress to go help the kids and dress up as a clown to make the kids feel happy and make people just feel happy. I've always liked to see people enjoy themselves and families be together and be happy. From there, I in high school throughout this time worked, and I had a kid at 18 years of age. I finished school. My family was supportive of me. I raised a son at 18, went to school and went to college. And when I started college, I wanted to be in the healthcare field. So I got to mental health and became a mental health counselor and worked on the psych unit for about 3 or 4 years and enjoyed just seeing how I can't even say enjoy, but just to see how
Sure.
people their lives can change in an instant from
Yep.
something that can just traumatically happen in a lifetime and their whole life has just completely changed. And I sat in on like social groups to talk to people and just to be that listening ear because a lot of us and a lot of people didn't have somebody that they can talk to. And a lot of times those mental health issues came from somebody not just listening, not paying attention to them, and now they're in this psych unit on medication and being drugged up because some things that may could have been prevented. And that led me to go further into healthcare. I was in a nursing program and realized that nursing was not for me because I didn't want to give patients drugs. I didn't want to really go through that whole process. So I went into medical coding and billing. I became graduated from Chicago State as a health information management degree, and I started working with doctors, providing coding education to the doctors, doing compliance and auditing, and
That's
working
right.
with the healthcare team and just seeing what's going on in our medical records.
Huh. Yep. Yep.
And just seeing how Western medicine, was transforming to giving the medications, to see how patients were responding to those things. I had the first close look to see that and to actually work with doctors one-on-one to teach them how to document and to code appropriately was what I did for, for maybe about 15 years. Yeah.
Wow. I'm just trying to sit here and like get all of these things. And yeah, like somewhere like there is a little bit of link of like you had this in you that you wanted to serve the society. Like that's the first thing that I get out of like, all of your experiences and like, the way your life has been in the initial few years. Yeah, like it's just like I am looking at you and I just feel like there's somebody who really is passionate about being there for the people. What
Mhm.
is it one thing that you think that led you said about Western medicine, but like a little bit of understanding that I have about you is somehow you have gone into a little bit of like holistic journey as well. So how was your transition from a Western medicine to like a little bit like holistic, wherein we try not to take as much medication? We want to rely a little bit on like listen to our body, like, see how that is. So yeah, like if you what like can I how can you explain that journey a little bit to us?
Sure. So in 2013, my son was killed. And that led me to one, affected me mentally, emotionally. I gained a lot of weight. I was on a lot of medications from, I would say, asthma, from sinus problems to weight gain to just different ailments that started affecting me. And as well as me instantly becoming a grandmother too at I would say the age of 38. I had to take on my granddaughter, which now putting additional, I won't say stress, but more responsibilities on me that it was just
Yeah.
overwhelmed. And at that time, I knew that medicine was not gonna solve my issue, and I didn't wanna be on medications for so long and know that it's affecting me in other ways. So I decided that I wanted to learn more on how to take care of myself and advocate for myself. So I went
Mm,
back to school. I went to Trinity Natural School and started the journey of going into holistic health and wellness. I started as a holistic wellness practitioner, and then I said, I want to go further. I told my husband, I told my friends, I said, I'm going to be a doctor. And when I say to myself things that I want to do, I stick to it and
mm,
stuck to it. I continued my studies and I took my boards to become a naturopathic doctor. And when I tell you that journey has allowed me to help myself mentally, um,
mm,
and that mental is the first thing is mentally getting your mind set. And my mind
mm,
was set that I wanted to be the best version of me. I wanted to take care of my health and my family's health without the use of too many medications or no medications.
yeah.
And there, I've just been learning on how to take care of us without doing those necessarily drugs that were given. And
Mhm,
now I can say that I've trained my mind to like, this is where you are right now. And you are in the best health as you can be. And I've been navigating these things and helping other people with their health and wellness journey at the same time. So it
mm,
was to answer your question, it was me getting sick, me fighting through high blood pressure,
mm,
asthma and all of these different ailments, going to the doctor and they telling me, "We don't know what's wrong. We don't know why you're having these problems." So guess
mm.
what? If you can't tell me, I'll find out myself.
Right. I mean, you're talking about somebody who at a very young age, right? You described having started at 13, 14, which is actually not something I knew before today, Dr. Yakima. So we have a parallel life because I started my first job. I wonder if Gigi also has had a similar experience where
Kind of.
and in our countries, they're not as detail oriented about age. So they
Mhm.
weren't really paying attention to that. So when you mentioned you started at 13, 14, it's giving, I think there's a reason why we connected and we've been friends and supporting each other is because we're driven differently. We're looking at life from a different lens and we refuse. It's what I'm hearing. Like you have had devastating loss. I cannot imagine being a parent who loses their child and having to exist in the world. As a therapist, I have had clients who had experienced loss that way. And it sounds like your body went through a very natural grieving process, right?
Mhm.
It's just at some point it became detrimental rather than a grief because there's a level of grief that we talk about and I'm sure you're familiar with this too. There's like, okay, grief is happening. I'm moving through the emotional experiences and I'm moving through life with some peaks of grief here and there. And then it's peaking and it's going to a dysregulated level where now the body is no longer able to stabilize itself, right? That's why you're talking about continued inflammation usually can lead to high blood pressure. And then you have doctors who are just like, well, take these medications, right?
Yep.
And I do think just having spoken with you and having worked with you also on my own health, I've learned so much about what can I do to just listen to what's going on? What can I do to just tune in, right? The word that we use in the therapy world and even in the mental health world, they use interoception, which is to
Mm.
like observe the self and to look at yourself from within and to just see what's going on. And you talk about nervous system regulation all the time, I'm sure, because this is
Yeah.
like this is the key, right? That's the key ingredient. And it's it's incredible your story of resilience because it sounds like you got to that point where some people may have sat there and said like, well, this is the point of no return. I'm just going to be connected to medications for the rest of my life. And then we have you going, you know what? Something is not right. Like this doesn't feel right.
Mhm.
And I remember a conversation with you early on when you had mentioned to me about your son because that's not something we had talked about immediately.
right? And you had mentioned that to me, and you said, I remember that because you said, I thought about what my son would say if he saw me, you know?
Yeah.
And he didn't get to experience his life longer. And I do. And I remember that conversation because I was like, wow, there are people that I have listened to that have completely reversed that. You know,
Yeah.
that they have taken the position of I'm a victim and this is forever after what I'm going to go through and I'm just going to take high blood pressure medication. My doctor's just going to tell me to
Yep.
take 2 pills instead of 1 pill every couple of years because it's not doing anything different. And so it's incredible to hear that that's what led you. I kind of knew that that's where, because you were like, Western medicine is great. It can be, but maybe it's kind of limited. It's like it's not preventative. It's it more so wants to deal with the symptom rather than what's happening underneath the layer of symptom, right? What's causing the symptom. And so that brings me to the topic, you know, because nervous system, right? That's what I figure we have to get into that topic. And Dr. Yakima, you've been using some really incredible tools. I want you to also talk about the BioScan because those are some tools that you taught me. And it seems a little woo woo to some people because I was trying to tell my partner about it and he was not about it. And he's an engineer, so he's very black and white thinking.
Mhm.
And I tried to explain to him, like, it records your voice and then
Mhm.
it detects. And I'll definitely let you explain this better. I was just telling him about my experience with it. And he was like, there's no way it can tell you what's going on in your body. But I'm like, there is evidence that frequency is something we can monitor, and your vibration detects certain rhythmic changes, can detect what's going on in the rest of the body. And we have scientific evidence of that. So let's talk about nervous system regulation and what that means, how you are encouraging your community and the clients that you work with, and of course the bioscan stuff, because I really want the audience to hear about that tool as well.
Sure. So I really, during my journey of healing, I realized that sound therapy and energy frequencies have really helped me, knowing that our body is made up of like 70% of water. Okay. So
Hmm.
keep in mind, because of that, when we hear different sounds, those sounds and frequency is bouncing off of our body. So
Hmm.
as you know, when you listen to certain music, some of us feel so good listening to different tunes, and that's because of the frequency that's going throughout our body. So I've
Right.
been using so two bioresonance scan. One is called a bioscan. The bioscan is a scan that actually you hold a wand for 2 minutes and it actually resonates with what is out of balance in your body. So
Mm.
whatever is showing less frequency to certain organs, then it will pick up on the scan to say, okay, the liver is showing that it's out of balance right now. It's not to say that you have something immediately going on that needs, immediate attention, but it's showing that something is going on in that specific body system that we may
Mm.
need to address,
Yeah.
as well as the AO scan, which is what Nishani you actually used, and that's called the AO scan. This AO scan actually takes 10 seconds of your voice.
Mm.
And it actually, of those 10 seconds, it's listening and picking up to the top notes that are out of balance. So what
Mm.
those notes that are out of balance, and then also the note that you are suppressing, can pick up those frequencies the same of what is energetically out of balance in the body. So, at the time that you do this, if something's going on in the body at that time, for instance, how your levels of any type of heavy metals that may be present in the body, how all of your organs are functioning, what foods you are sensitive to, it can pick those
Mhm.
things. And also, like, if your body's needs more hydration, if you need chiropractic adjustments, what elements are out of place right now? And then
Mm.
those are things that we just need to look at to say, okay, this came up on my scan. Let me take a little further look into how I can support myself.
Mm-hmm. That was actually one of the most, like, when you did I think it was giving me a food sensitivity, because
Mhm.
I did another test with Dr. Yakima. It was a cheek swab, and I had sent it to a lab, and she had, and that was one thing. Oh, I totally forgot to mention this. Dr. Yakima was the first doctor who helped me get a hormonal level check. She's the one who said, you're going to go to this lab and submit, and then we'll find out where you're at based off of your cycle. Because I had asked doctors for 30 something years of my life, well, technically not
Mhm.
all 30 years, I was aware of this, but let's say the last 50 to 20 years, I was asking my primary care doctor, and they would just go, why? You don't need it, you're fine, you're healthy, you're a healthy normal person. And I'm like, I would like to know what it looks like to be healthy, because we have science and data. Why not track it so that when it is not, I would be able to know the difference. And so I remember Dr. Yakima, as part of those two tests that I did, and I sent that information to the lab. One of the sensitivities that shocked me was grapes, and I used to eat grapes every day, like literally every day of the week. I would have grapes. I would ask my partner to bring it. If I forgot, he would always have it in the fridge. And after I learned about that and other sensitivities, I played around with it. I started
Mhm.
not taking it for a couple of weeks, and then taking it and then seeing if it made a difference. Like basically like detoxing myself gently instead of completely cutting off a lot of things. Because
Mhm.
if nobody's ever done a food sensitivity test, it might shock you what you might discover, because a lot of the inflammation that I was experiencing in my body, it looked like I was a little bit heavier. And then when I started putting these changes into place, I actually noticed I had just lost weight, but it's like visually I could tell my face was thinner. I like it wasn't as, like, what's the word? Swollen. Yeah,
Mhm.
it wasn't swollen. Like, it was just very interesting. And of course, hydration. Like, I think it detected that I was dehydrated and I needed some support to my liver. So there were so many important details. Obviously, just because the test results and these scans provide the information doesn't mean that it's going to miraculously change who you are, unless you're willing to take the necessary steps. And that is a challenge. I will admit, I think Dr. Yakima was on me for a couple of weeks, because I wasn't, like, at least moving towards putting some action in putting some things into action. And she would just check in with me, and I was like, we're entrepreneurs, so I'm like, I'm so busy. But I
Yeah.
knew that I was limiting myself. I have not eaten grapes. I eat grapes very rarely,
Mhm.
and grapes, and there was a couple of other things like that. And I was dairy was okay. Even though I was ignoring dairy for a long time, dairy was okay. So I started taking dairy, and I started realizing, oh, that's actually helpful to me,
Mhm.
instead of doing almond milk or soy milk. So this is so unique. Your scan really like opened up my eyes to things that I was saying was completely normal, right? Because sometimes when you're eating, you only satiate this part of your mouth, right? We're only thinking
Mhm.
about the taste and the flavor, and we
Mhm.
think it's great. Like, eating a burger is fantastic only here, and
Yeah.
then it goes to the rest of your body, and the rest of your body. I'm not saying you need to stop eating all these things. Like, it's okay to enjoy your life, but everything in moderation, right? Which brings me to, I think, Dr. Yakima, you have done so many detoxes, because I follow you on social media, and I have
Yeah.
seen you do juice raw detox, and you kind of engage in the community, and you challenge everybody else to do it too. I still have not done a true 30-day raw. I don't know how you did it. I was
Yeah.
observing your progress, and I was like, oh my God. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm getting competitive. I'm like, I gotta figure this out, man. Like, why am I not doing it? But I want, but I'm curious to hear about what that's been like for you, why you have been kind of going through those detoxes. And was
Yeah.
there any purpose to you doing a certain detox at a certain time? Like, what was all that for?
Sure. So I will just say to you, everybody can't do raw detoxes. And I will just make that, a disclaimer. Detox is not for everybody because everybody's body is unique.
Mm,
So, what I may say a 30-day detox for somebody can be because their body can support that detox, but
Mm.
everybody can't do a 30-day, a 7-day, or 14 days. So it just depends on what's going on in the body at that particular time to decide what's best for you. For me, I every quarter, every time the season changes, I do maybe like a 14-day detox, and that's not always raw because I will say I realize eating too much raw for me
Mm.
causes some bacteria overgrowth, which can happen
Mm.
depending on many factors. It could depend on your blood type. It can depend on what type of I will go into Ayurveda because it can depend on your dosha. If you're a hot person, a cold person, it can
Yeah.
depend on a woman that's maybe menopausal to somebody that's not menopausal. So
Mm.
and I've noticed that as I've gone from premenopausal to now I'm menopausal, that my
Right.
body changed, so I can't do the things that I was doing
Mm.
last year till right now. So now I'm only doing maybe 7 days raw. I don't do a whole 14, 28 days. And I say that every quarter, I do a detox, meaning I make sure I cleanse out my liver, my colon, my blood, and it's just doing herbs for me and making sure I'm hydrating myself and eating good, nutritious fruits and vegetables. And really, ladies, it's just giving your body a break from the
Mm.
food that we're eating. So and I do this too because I want to stay off of medications. I don't want my blood pressure going up
Mm.
anymore. I don't want to be on any type of medications. And that's why I do that because you have to keep in mind we're
Mm.
picking up toxins from everywhere, from the environment, from our food,
Mm.
mentally from what we're feeding ourselves from the TV to people that's coming to us each and every day. These are all toxins that we're putting inside of our body. So it's important that you try and detox, meaning you can go to the sauna and just go sweat. You know, it's not saying that you have to do this big old
Mhm.
juicing and do all of this. It's just the little things that we can do for ourselves just to clear out some toxins in our body. And it's like I said, it's different for each and every person. But like I said, I do this quarterly so that I can keep my body as toxins free as possible, which is, it's not
Mhm.
easy because, like I said, we're
Mhm.
ingesting this stuff each and every day. I mean, just being mindful of what I'm putting inside of my body and my mind. That's
Yeah.
really the big thing.
Yeah. Hearing you two ladies, like I have not done some tests and I'm intrigued now. Like I would want to like get in touch with you, Dr. Yakim, after this, and I have some things done for myself as well. But yeah, like having said that, like, do you think it's a society problem? Because a lot of people will never guide you this way, right? Like, this is something that it was a personal grief that you went through that led you to this journey, and now you're trying to educate more people on this path. Where do you think we lack as a community? Like, why do we suddenly just depend on Western medications, right? I'm going to say, even I'm very guilty of doing that. Like, we probably don't listen to our bodies. I'm going to say, I don't know if that's the right way to say this, but yeah, like, can you shed a little bit of more light on these two things of like, does our body indicate it to us beforehand? And what can we do initially to avoid the Western medications? Like, I'm sure that there are tips and tricks that we can do initially to not fall into that trap.
That's a good question, Gigi. And my first answer to you would be listen to your body.
Yeah.
Our body communicates with us each and every day. That
Mm.
mild headache that, oh, I've been having this headache for the last 2 weeks. My stomach hurts or something is going wrong in the body and we ignore it. That's the
Mm.
first thing. And the longer we ignore it, the longer the inflammation is setting in our body, which is going to cause you to have to go and get medications. So the
Mm.
whole idea is if we start paying attention to our body and listening and understanding what it's communicating with us, we can get on top of it faster. This is
Yeah.
why doing the scan is so important too, because it'll pick up what's going on in your body so you can address it immediately and not be waiting so that you have to depend on medications to take for the rest of your life.
Hmm.
This is
Yeah.
why
And
it's important.
before we get back to our conversation, here's a little local love that I want to share with our community. Today's episode is brewed with heart by Integrity Coffee, where they offer fresh roast, real flavor, and Michigan made goodness in every cup. Grab your bag at integritycoffee22.com and use our special code HONEST20 for 20% off. And no, Dr. Kima, you're so right. We talk about listen to your body, but I wonder if we can get into examples of what it
Yeah.
means to listen, because I think sometimes I've actually had a client get mad at me when I told them, like, listen to your body. They're like, what do you mean? And they were so mad. And because they were like, it's almost like they did not have the awareness. They're all up here in the
Mhm.
headspace, right? And they could not feel beyond their neck, and
Mhm.
so like something like your scans, right? Both of the scans, the one and the AO scan, which it opened my eyes to some things that even I thought. I was like, oh, I know my body. I sense into this, and I've been working on listening and improving my own wellness without relying on any medications and listening to those signals. So I think sometimes it's almost like we're so far removed from the body. And so I'm curious how you might educate someone. What might be some of
Yeah.
those examples that you might share of how would you direct somebody who's like brand new to this and they're like, I'm in my head, like I don't know what you're talking about, which
Yeah.
has happened to me.
It's mental. I'll say we have to start mentally understanding what do we want, you know,
Mm,
because it's so much clutter going on in the mind of you're listening to outside sources and you're
mm,
listening to, you got so many things that's going on in your head. You can't even understand, like you said, what's going on in the body. And I'll
mm,
say one comes from family. It's
mm,
been passed down from generation to generation. Oh, my mom took this medication. My grandma took
mhm.
this medication. So I'm going to take
Yeah.
this medicine. My
Mm,
doctor told me that I have to take this medicine for the rest of my life. So I'm going to do what my doctor tells me. So it's
mm.
all because we have been, how can,
Conditioned.
program,
Mm-hmm.
yes, to believe this is what we are supposed to be doing, and it's a mindset change that we have to start understanding, changing the trajectory of our life. That's the whole
Mm-hmm.
thing, because the more you think, "Oh, I have to take this, my doctor told me to do this," so then ask yourself, "What is this gonna what happens if I take this for the rest of my life?" And this is what
Mm,
I ask my clients, "Do you understand that every time you get angry, that anger is going to your liver?
mm,
Every time you're stressed, your heart is affected." So
mm,
then I start using these scenarios, and then now it makes you think. So
mm,
now my liver is toxic, not only because I've been taking these medications a long time, but because every time I get angry of someone that has bothered me, all of this
mm.
is stress on different organs. And those
Right.
organs are affected every day. So it's
Yeah.
really just changing how we see things and not be afraid to talk up when we speak to our doctor. I
Mm,
tell my clients every day, you are the advocate. You need to advocate for yourself and know what's going on. You
mm,
know what's going on in your body. You have to
mm,
dictate that to your doctor.
mm. Yeah. Having I've had experiences where, and I think Dr. Akima, you specialize working with women, especially. I think I've even sent individuals who are experiencing perimenopause. and of course menopause, but perimenopause, because it's almost like the industry, the healthcare industry, and we know this now, it's been confirmed. It kind of ignored women's bodies for a really long time. It was kind of assuming that if the man's body is reacting to something a certain way, then a woman's body must just naturally have the same reaction. And
Yeah.
it's taken us, right? Like it's taken us years to recognize as mankind to recognize that women's experiences with the same drugs, their interactions with the same lifestyle does not work the same way, right? And Dr. Yakima, I know that when you work with women, because you talk about how stress and long-term chronic stress, it has a tremendous effect on the body. It is often perceived as permanent damage. Like there is conversation where it's permanent and it cannot be reversed. However, like you said, I'm also mindset matters. If you say something is permanent, your brain locks it away in a drawer, like, okay, well, I guess this is forever. I always like to allow for everybody to be like, there is always room for change, always room for you to improve or at least address what's going on, right? Not just file it away and never look at it again. So when you work with women, especially individuals who may be going through perimenopause, I wonder what comes up for you and what you might be helping them understand in their bodies. How do you help them understand what's going on in their system?
First, I would say is their nervous system. And I'll
Mm-hmm.
just ask questions like, what's going on? Like, what are you doing on your everyday life? Because the
Mm,
nervous system is where the inflammation starts.
mm,
So if
Mm,
we can balance out our nervous system, we can lessen the inflammation in the body. As we know, or some may not know, that inflammation is what's causing a lot of the dis-ease in the body. So it's just being mindful of how can I lessen the inflammation in my body. And this may sound crazy, but I ask women, start jotting down to me, what are you doing every day? Give me a list of things that you're doing. And it can start from, okay, I take my daughter to school. I wake up, when you wake up in the morning, what are you doing? Oh, I'm
mm,
going to my phone. That right there could be stressful. What are you reading on your phone? You know, what and that can automatically bring stress to your body, which is causing inflammation. Are you
mm,
hydrating yourself when you wake up in the morning? Are you starting with coffee? What are you doing that first thing in the morning that could be causing you a little bit of stress? Then in
mm,
the afternoon, are you taking a break for yourself? Many of us, we don't take breaks for ourselves. And it's
mm,
so important that you take time out for you because that little 5-minute break, maybe just going to take a walk or taking a deep breathing exercise for 5 minutes can help
mm,
you live much longer and to help de stress and take some of that inflammation out of the body. So it's
mm,
really first thing is identifying what is causing your body to be inflamed.
mm,
Stress? Is it food? Is it people? Social media? All of these things play a role. So it's whether you're in menopause or perimenopause, it's just now let's identify these things first.
yeah. You mentioned one thing about taking time for yourself, right? Like, now I'm just going to bring this conversation a little bit to women. Why do you think as women we are guilty of taking that time for ourselves, right? Like, just a basic situation. If a man comes home, he's just like, I need to unwind. He's not going to move a finger. And that's okay with any society. But somehow, as a woman, it's upon us to take all of the responsibility. You have to make sure everybody is fed in the house. Somehow things are done. Still, you're taking care of whatever you're doing, right? Like you could be working, you could be an entrepreneur, whatever. Why do we think as women we hold that guilt of resting?
Say because we've seen it done with our families, our
mm,
parents, our mothers, our grandmothers. We've witnessed them take care of the families. So it's
Mm.
being passed down from generation to generation. And I can speak for myself because I've seen my mother, struggle and take care of my brothers. I seen my grandmother take care of her husband and take care of her
Mm.
family. So we automatically think this is what we are supposed to do. And as women, we are nurturers by
Mm.
just being who we are. We love and care for other people, but we don't realize that we have to care for ourselves. And
Mm.
that's number
Yeah.
one reason, ladies, why heart disease is the number one cause of women's death right now is because of stress
Yeah.
and heart problems because we don't take that time out for us. That's why,
Mm.
and we're guilty of it because even as women that have children, we do any and everything we can to protect our kids. And even
Yeah.
parents that don't even have children, they still do for everybody else and not take care of themselves.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, like I'm just sitting with this information and like it definitely makes sense. Like what you said before I got married versus now, I keep telling like I'm really good at doing a lot of other things, but like, when you're like married or you have somebody else in the house, somehow I became more responsible of my husband. But like as you said, like the constant guilt is upon me. Oh, is there food in the house? Like he doesn't bother as much as I do. And I see what you said, like there is a nurturing factor.
Mm.
Mhm.
Before I got married, I never even thought I had that bone in me. Like I thought I was only the person who would only chase, like I was good at what I do. I'm just going to work. Things will follow. Like I really thought like that was me, but clearly not. Like I didn't know there was a side to me. I didn't know I could cook. I didn't know I could do all of the other things. It's just that when you get a little bit more responsibilities and when you understand that you can, like suddenly I'm like, oh, I know a lot of the other factors as well. And having said that, like what is the right way to kind of put those boundaries also, right? Like it's easier to say no, but it comes with a lot of guilt. Let's be very honest, because the moment my mom sees my husband doing dishes, there is constant guilt on me. And it happens today as well, right? Like if I would say, oh, he cooked, my mom would give me that eyes like, why are you making your husband do all of these things? And I'm like,
Mm.
I'm sorry, but I work as well.
Mm.
Mhm.
And if he has to pick up some slack, it's okay. But again, like said, unsaid, I still hold that guilt. I'm like, oh, am I supposed to do all of these things? But I know I'm not a superwoman. Like this is the thing
Mhm.
that I tell myself. But because you both are therapists, you both are more into like mental health and understanding. Like I would like to hear your thoughts of like how can women draw and make it into a healthy space for them, right? Like we can easily say no, but I still hold that guilt. So yeah, I would love to hear from you both. Like what would that?
Start one day at a time. One
Yeah.
day.
Mm. Yeah.
That one time, just say, I can't do it. No. And see how you feel. If
Mm.
and that one time will turn into I can't do it, and you will start feeling a whole lot better. Trust and
Yeah.
believe, know how you feel. I've done it, but you know what? I had to realize this is costing my health. If I have to
Mhm.
continue to do for you and provide for you, I will not be good for you or to myself. So it's okay to start setting boundaries. Look, we have some responsibilities. We are in this household together. You know, I know some people and have different religious beliefs and things that they do because this is what we've always been trained to do. But we're in a time right now that our health is so important. And we may
Yeah.
have to put some of those beliefs not to the side, but just let's help one another. Because if
Yeah.
I'm continuously doing all these things for you, I'm feeling bad. I'm not feeling good. I'm not
Yeah.
myself. And if you're not yourself, how are you going to be good to your family? You won't.
Mhm.
So when
Yeah.
I say, gee, that one day I can't do it, don't feel bad about it. And
Mm.
when if you do feel bad about it, start thinking of positive things. I
Yeah.
said no, but I really want to go help him think about my heart is feeling better
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
today because I said no. And that
Mm.
one no will turn into two no's. I can't do it and don't feel bad about it because you
Yeah.
deserve
Yeah.
I also think about like we are actively, every time you say no, you're actively choosing to rewrite the story. So whenever, if ever you choose to have a child, if I ever gave birth to a daughter, I will not want my daughter to do what my mom did and how my mom acted at her own expense. Granted, my mom was like Dr. Yakima said so well, like we're nurturers. We are just naturally, even if I never had a child, if I was in public, and this happened to me when I was in Iowa last week, we were walking through a park and this kid was poking at a beehive. I'm sure of it because he had a long stick. All I always see is this kid running back out, screaming, coming back out from some area that he was at, and I saw a large bee following him, right? I saw it following him. And then bees are usually not like that. They don't mess with you unless you messed with them, right? I had the urge to literally run towards him, and the great thing was my partner was holding my hand and he also saw what was happening. And it was a little boy who was doing this. And he held my hand and he said, nature needs to teach nature. Nature is teaching that boy a lesson. It's not your job to intervene with nature. And the bee stung him in the ear because he stopped running for a second while he was screaming. And I keep calling it beer. The bee
it.
caught it and stung, and I'm sure it hurt because he screamed so loud. And I had this, like, I would have run and I probably would have put myself in between the bee and that boy because I didn't want that little boy to get hurt. But my partner had the right idea to say, like, he did something to that bee. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Why would you put yourself in the middle of his consequence? And that's
Yeah.
what mothers do. That's what women do. They
Mhm.
put themselves in front of others that are about to get hit because of their own actions. And mothers do this very naturally. They will prevent
Yeah.
their children from ever getting hurt, even if that means they will put themselves in danger. And women do that to their partners, male, female, or otherwise, right? Like they will put themselves, we will take responsibility. Your mom, Gigi, has been conditioned to take the responsibility of
Yes.
taking care of the man of the house. And therefore, she feels like it is her duty to instill that life lesson in you,
Yeah.
right? And so it's guilt, it's shame too. It's like you're
Yeah.
a bad person if you don't
Yep.
do these things. And so I think Dr. Yakima is absolutely right. Like taking that step is going and saying no, or I just can't do it right now, or can you help me?
Mhm.
Please, can you help me?
Yeah.
Like, I'll take care of this. Can you take care
Mhm.
of that? Right? Women are just naturally built different. Our neuroplasticity is different. Our brain can multitask and hold a lot of information at the same time. So, what you were describing about thinking about dinner, you're carrying the mental load. You
Yeah.
carry the mental load of groceries, of house hasn't been cleaned in 3 weeks. We probably need to take care of that. Oh, bed sheets need to be washed, or
Yep.
we need to do these things in another month. Like
Yep.
it's like a
Yep.
running checklist, right?
Yep.
And to let go of some of them, like Dr. Akiva was saying, like saying no and then not absorbing the shame and guilt. And the way I think about it is I am rewriting the story of what it means to be a woman. So if ever I have a child, or even if I never have a child and I just observe other daughters, other younger women who come after me, if they ever ask me or observe me with my partner in my reality, I feel confident enough to be like, yeah, I'm proud of what I have built today
Yeah.
because it's not built on guilt or shame. It's built on choice, right? And I'm still, this is a work in progress. I will admit I'm nowhere near I'm 100%. Like I was going to run towards that boy about to get stung by the bee. But my partner, he was holding my hand already. We were walking. And he said, gotta let nature do the thing. Gotta let nature do the thing. And the boy, I'm sure he's never going to do that again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I think that Dr. Yakima, as you teach other women this, and it's like you're a coach, right? You're a doctor, you're a holistic practitioner. You are also holding space for them, for their mental health, and you're
Mhm.
reassuring them, which is something I wanted to bring up. So Dr. Yakima hosts with her niece and another holistic practitioner. I'm forgetting her name, forgive me, but you guys host once a month something called Holistic Healing Hangouts, if I'm remembering this correctly. It's the
Yes.
first Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right?
Mhm.
Or,
Yes.
yes, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so 6 p.m. Central Time. And I've joined it a couple of times, and it's just been conversations. Women are just coming together, and there's women of all ages, of all walks of life, who are busy. They have their kids with them sometimes, because that's just how we roll. We just got to make it work, right?
Yes.
But they've had really incredible conversations about supporting our nutrition. How do we take care of ourselves? What you just talked about, Gigi, like someone would bring that topic up and say like, oh, my mother-in-law or my own mother, made this comment or whatever. And then the other women in the room will be like, you know what? Let her have her comments. You're not going to let that affect you. And that's all we need. Just somebody else reassuring us that it's okay.
Yeah.
So I wanted to mention that I will probably add that information, which we will
Yes.
add Dr. Yakima's social channels on our show notes so that if anybody's interested, you can jump on Holistic Healing Hangouts. And I'm curious if it has evolved into something else because it has been a couple of months since I've joined, but I recall just the space and the energy that all of you brought and the acceptance, the validation of a community coming together to just say like, you know what, let's just talk through what's going on. Can you
Yes.
share your trick? Like, how do you get rid of this problem? How did you work with this, like hormonal imbalance or cramping? And I learned about putting something in my, like the mineral salt in the water. We talked
Uh,
about that one time. Like there were some really important little tidbits of information that we received from each other from just
Good.
joining that. So I just think about Dr. Yakima, how you're building and you're growing your space where if women stand together, right? If we're all standing together, we actually are quite unstoppable because with our brain capacity, man, uh, we
Yeah.
nothing can get in the way of what we are intending to do.
Yep.
We are powerful, powerful. And, just
Hmm.
creating that space for women is what we need because, this is a space where you can come in and be who you are. You've been at work all day and you just need an outlet. And this is a time for you to just come say what's on your mind, and you never know how that can actually help somebody the next day because all they needed to do was just have somebody listen to them, and other women come in and pour into them and praise them and give them love and support, and that little bit can go a long way for many of us.
Hmm.
Yep. No, thank you so much for saying both of you. Like, there's one part of me that understands what you say, and there's one part of me that holds the guilt. And I've said that to Nishani also since we talk. I'm like, you understand both the things, and there is a time and place both of them will connect, right? Like, you're going to let go of the guilt. And I just want, if anybody's listening and they are in that in between stage, you're in a good space because at least you can transition now. Like, you know what's holding you back, and you know where your thoughts are at, because my thoughts align with everything that you say, but then my upbringing holds me back.
Mm.
It's the journey that I think most of us, are always going to toggle between in every scenario of our life. But yeah, like, having this conversation has empowered me to stand up a little bit more for myself. So I hope I'll bridge the gap sooner. So yeah, like, if anybody is going through all of these things, like, women like these exist. So, like, like, they're here. Like, I am also going to be the one person who join the Thursday hangouts. Like, I do have it. Nishani has shared it with me, but it's unfortunately not on the calendar. So you end up missing it. And after it's done, you're just like, okay, it's over. So I'm going to actively put it on my calendar. So I end up joining it. But yeah, like, I'm just going to say from all of us, thank you so much, right? Like, it's because of somebody who has walked that path before us.
Mm,
It's making our space easier, I'm going to say. So, thank you. Literally, I'm going to say thank you so much for doing it, because I know that I have to do some things to make my life easier. And somebody has walked that path already. So it's a little bit like I can see the lead way. And it's just that I need to get onto it now. Like, I'm
mhm.
a little sidetracked. I'm going to bring myself on the track now. So yeah, Dr. Akima, like talking to you, I'm literally trying to find the right words, because it's a lot of like feeling that I have in my body, but just like getting the words to kind of communicate that it's a little difficult. But I'm just going to say, I'm going to sit with this after we're done talking about this, is because there's a lot of things that have come up that are being channeled to, and I'm definitely going to look forward to, like, working with you, and more than that, like reflecting on my own life, because I
Mm,
think that was mainly the focus that we had today. Is how do you look at your life and what do you want out of it?
mhm.
Just because
Yeah.
someone said something, that's not know it and end it all, right? Like, you can definitely change the path of whatever things that you're going through.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's my takeaway.
You write your own story. You
Mm,
are the author of your story. So how you want to see your life, start putting it into place right now. And the time
mm,
is now, because we aren't promised tomorrow. And the way to look at it, as if, am I living my best life? Am I being the best version of me? And if the answer is no, then that's when you really need to start working on being the best version of Gigi. Who is
mm,
Yeah.
Gigi? What does Gigi want in life? And how am I going to achieve it now? Not later,
Yeah.
but right now.
Yes.
mm. Oof. Powerful. Yeah, powerful questions. It kind of forces you to take a look at, because I think sometimes, and I think Gigi might agree with me. I felt like I just had to like let go of the baggage. Like, it wasn't like I had to put something new on. It was almost like I just
Yeah.
had to drop the bag or take the layer off. And in my personal journey, I have experienced layers off in mindset, like dropping the guilt, dropping and working on my shame, which does take a long time, Gigi, just to honor your own statements. Like, it takes years to unlearn some of the things that it took years to build. You're supposed to give yourself room for that, which I know she and I are over. Well, actually, all three of us, it sounds like we're overachievers. So we're like, how can I get there tomorrow? And then life humbles us and shows us like
Yes.
that's not how this works. But I think just in general, this journey, being the author, taking ownership of your life and deciding that you hold the pen is a mindset first, because we have been conditioned to believe that your parents dictate who you are, your husband dictates, your significant other dictates who you are, or society dictates who you should be as a woman, or your culture or your religion. And it kind of puts a responsibility on the external world. And I think, Dr. Yakima, what you're bringing to our conversation is that it is an internal system that starts off everything. And if you can reframe that mindset of going, no, it's not somebody else holding the pen, it is me holding the pen. And then I get to choose, what do I want to write? And I can change anything I want whenever I feel like it. I'm writing another whole book right now. I don't even care about the last book, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I know we're already at an hour, but I had to ask you, what got you motivated to doing a weightlifting show? And I know you even made it to the top score. I'm sorry, I do not know how it's scored, but I saw that you had won a medal. So I really wanted to ask you, I don't know, Gigi, if you saw that, but Dr. Yakima
No, I
has.
haven't.
That's right. So please tell us a little bit about that and what got you
Yeah,
into that?
sure.
How did you find out about it?
Was 49 at the time, and I wanted to actually change my lifestyle. I was in the process of changing my lifestyle. So when I say going through the transformation, mind, body, and spirit, my mind was already there. Internally, my body was there. So now it's for me to get my body externally the way I want for my transformation. And I saw a friend of mine, she was 63 at the time. She had just participated in a bodybuilding competition, and she looked fabulous. So I asked her, I said, "What do I need to do to get into this competition?" And she said, "Well,
Mm.
you can train. You have 6 months, and you gotta give up sugar." I said, "No problem." Gave up
Okay.
sugar. I started working and training in 6 months, and that was a goal for me. I said at 50, I wanna do this competition, and I got into the competition with women 50 and over. I did not plan to I just did it for me. I didn't do it for anybody else. I was shy. So this was actually for me to get over my fear of being in front
Mm,
of an audience with a
mm,
two-piece on, and showing my muscles, and I came in 5th place. I did not expect that, and I'm grateful and saw this journey, and just knowing that we can do whatever we put our mind to. Whatever we
mm,
put our mind to, and it's just staying focused and
mm,
dedicated on your journey and your path.
mm.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I like honestly, that was incredible. I
Yeah.
just watching you, and you would record your progress in the journey. Even to this day, Dr. Yakima shares her physical fitness moments with her and her partner. Like they
Mhm.
both share how they work out together. Her niece has been a big part of her journey. So like she incorporates her family, which has been an incredible thing to watch because you and like Gigi said earlier, you're a way maker. You lead, you're creating a
Yes.
pathway for
Yep.
other women like us who are just, we know that it's possible, but sometimes it is harder to take
Yeah.
those first steps. And when we do take those first steps and we're the only ones taking the steps, there can be a lot of noise, like you said, right? Like
Mhm.
the distractions of people and society and culture and all of that. And so to know that we're not alone because someone like you has taken those steps is really incredible. How brave and resilient to push yourself. Again, at 50, I was like, I swear, did not you do not look
Yeah.
how your age at all. So that was something I was laughing about when I first met Dr. Yakima. I thought she was a lot younger until she admitted to me. She was like, Nishani, I could probably be your mom. And I was like, but I feel like we're sisters, like we know each other, from another life. We're family. And that's how she's treated me. That's how she treats her community and all the women she works with. I know I recommended people and sent people to her and she treats them the same way. And I think now, Dr. Yakima, you are doing workshops and kind of sharing your wisdom with groups of women and not just individually. As we're getting closing to wrapping up, because I know we've taken up a little bit more of your time than we initially promised. What are some of the things that, is there anything that we didn't touch on? Anything that you like to add? What are some of your takeaways? What are you sitting with from this conversation today?
I would say this, that I've really noticed how, because I've actually gone into the journey of being a Reiki practitioner and also doing tuning forks as a tuning forks therapist as well. And I must say that I realized that we are holding so many emotions in our body that it is what
Hmm.
is affecting us mentally, physically, and energetically, and allowing the energy to move throughout the body has allowed a lot of my clients to feel a whole lot better. As I don't claim to be a healer at all, I just help people learn how to heal themselves.
Hmm.
Works, doing Reiki, which is, energy work, has really helped me. And because it helped me, I realized, let me see how this can help other people. And I've noticed a big difference on how, as women, we hold all of these emotions, ladies. And I tell you, I've seen it in the heart, in the mind space, in our gut. Our
Hmm.
gut needs a lot of healing and a lot of support because that's what's affecting our mind. And the energy work that I'm doing has really, like I said, helped me and helped a lot of other women. And I would just say, just focus on you. You know, I know it's hard as women, as parents, as caregivers, that We want to help everybody else, but if we're not good to ourselves, how are we going to be good to anybody else?
Mm-hmm.
Take
Yep.
that time out for you each and every day,
Mm,
whether it's 5 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes, or in the evening time. You deserve the best. Your body deserves the best. And don't feel guilty about it at all, because at the end of the day, who is it affecting? You.
yeah,
You
exactly.
are being
Yep.
affected at the end of the day. You wonder, my leg hurt, my body hurts. And that's because you have not taken the time out for you. And I stress that every day, ladies.
Mm. Yep.
You know, take that time out for you. Drink your water. Make sure your water is near you. I see a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people that are it's hydration. Hydration is key. That's
Mm.
affecting us. So make sure you're drinking your water, your fruits.
Mm.
Those are
Mm-hmm.
hydrating too.
Yep.
It's the little
It's
things
so
that we do.
exactly. I was just gonna say that. I was like, it's the
Thing.
little things, and sometimes people think it needs to be something major, like major transformation. And like even in therapy that comes up, and I'm like, if every day you just made the decision not to criticize yourself once, then maybe the next day you do it twice, maybe the next day you cut it out 3 times and you block it, and then
Yeah.
it's all of a sudden self-criticism doesn't even pop into your mind. It's not gonna go away in one day, you
Yeah.
know, but it takes small steps, and intention matters, right? You have to want this. You have to want to do it for yourself. And if that's not there, that internal motivator isn't there, sometimes women like Dr. Yakima, just meeting people like that has helped me maintain my motivation and stay inspired. And I know that there are other women out there that we don't have that inner voice immediately, and then all of a sudden we meet other women, and then we find ourselves, like you said, energy, right? And I totally forgot about the Reiki healing. I'm like, see, that's another
Yeah.
incredible achievement, right? And energy does translate. We have a certain frequency, and we gravitate to the frequency that we are vibrating at, so we find like-minded individuals who match our energy, which is why I think Dr. Yakima dropped into my life. She was a God sent angel at that time that I needed. And I'm so glad. I'm so glad we were able to do this. Thank you so much for being a part of this podcast and for sharing your knowledge, your wisdom, and your encouragement for the next generations of women. You are leading the way, Dr. Yakima. So thank you so much. I cannot wait to organize something in person. I think it will be lovely to have you show us, and also the AO scan. I can't wait for Gigi to experience it so she can learn
Yes.
more about her body as well. As we mentioned, we will add all of your information in our show notes. So if anybody wants to get in touch with Dr. Yakima, she is able to do almost all of her appointments virtually, even the scan, some of the scans. One scan, I know the wand one, you want to be able to do it in person, virtually, but the AO scan, you can record an audio clip and send it to Dr. Yakima easily. So she's able to meet with clientele from basically anywhere, is what I'm gathering,
Yeah.
because it's not restricted, right? Virtual. This is one of the great things about the internet, right? The fact that we're meeting with her and she's in Illinois right now. So, anyways, thank you so much for being a part of our podcast. I'm wondering if Gigi, if you had anything to add before we wrap up.
Honestly, no, I'm just walking out with a lot of, gratitude. And thank you so much for walking that path, because it's easier for me to walk that path now, to follow footsteps. So, yeah, I'm just walking away with that information at the end, saying that yes, there is shame and guilt, like letting go of what has been taught, but
Mm,
you have to do it for yourself because nobody else is going to stand up for you. And if
mm.
your jar is empty, you can never fill anybody else's jar. So, yeah, thank you so much. Like it's really very fulfilling. I'm just going to say that for me. Like, yeah, I'm just very grateful and thank you so much for this conversation. Okay.
I want to say thank you, ladies, so much for having me. I really appreciate this. This platform is so awesome, not just for us, but for everybody that's watching. And just know that you can do whatever you set your mind to, and love on yourself and take care of yourself, because you deserve the best. And I thank
Mm,
you.
mm. Mic drop. Anyways.
Yeah. If you've made it this far, thank you for hanging out with us. We hope it made you feel a little bit more seen. This is If I'm Being Honest. We're not promising perfection. We're showing up as we are.
Until next time, stay real, stay honest.